Hi boys and girls, today in your guided practice we are going to be looking at some subtraction word problems and we're going to be solving them together. So you need to get out your math journal or a piece of paper, and you make sure that you have out a pencil too, because I want you to work these with me as I solve them. So the first thing that you need to draw on your paper is your problem solving mat. So you have a big square divided into 4 boxes. Your first box is where we're going to put all the important information. Your next box is where we're going to be planning. The third box is where we're going to be solving. And the fourth box is where we're going to be checking. So you should have a big problem solving mat on your piece of paper. Okay? So as I'm solving these problems, I want you to be solving them with me at home so that way you have extra practice. So there's going to be times where I pause and I take a break. During those times, you're going to be doing a little bit of work and then you can check your work with me, right? So let's get started. Let's look at our first word problem. It says, Joe had $137. 137 is going to be important because it's a number in a word problem. So I know that I'm probably going to be using it. So I'm just going to underline it so that way I remember to go back and look at that number. He spent $23 on a game. So again, I see another number, so I'm going to go ahead and underline it to remember I need to go back to that and see if it's some important information. How much money does he have left? And there's my question. That question is going to be so important. How much money does he have left? So let's reread the problem. As we're rereading the problem, this time I'm going to be writing down the important information in the important info box. So let's read it. Joe had $137. So I'm going to write Joe. I'm going to write 137. So go ahead and put that in your info box. Joe, and he started with $137. He spent $23 on a game. So I'm going to write spent $23 on a game, okay? Because I know that he started with $137, but he spent some money on a game. And then let's look at the question. How much money does he have left? So that question is also going to be really important. I'm going to write how much money left. And notice I didn't write the whole question, but I made sure that I wrote what it was saying. We want to know how much money does he have left. So I wrote how much money left. Okay? So all that important information should be right here in the important info box. So I want you to make sure that in your important info box, you have your important information. And then we're going to go over and we're going to make our plan. Remember, this is a part-whole chart. This is where we put our part, and our whole. And this helps us realize, or it helps us figure out if we're adding or if we're subtracting. So up here is where the whole is going to go. This is going to be the part and the part. So let's see what we have, what information we have, so that way we know if we're adding or subtracting. Remember, if I have a whole in one part, I'm subtracting. If I have a whole in another part, I'm subtracting. But if I have 2 parts, I'm adding. Okay? So let's see. Do we know the whole? Do we know how much Joe had to start with? Joe had $137. So we do know the whole. We know how much money he started with. So here in this box, I'm going to put 137 because that's how much money he started with. And then it says that he spent $23 on a game. So we know that part of his money went to a game, and that was $23. So what we're looking for is the other part, how much money Joe has left. So that part is blank. So I have my whole in one of my parts, so I am subtracting. This is going to be a subtraction problem because we know how much Joe started with. We know that he spent some got taken away. So we have to figure out the missing part, how much Joe has left. And we're going to do that right now. Let me scoot you in a little bit closer. So in the solve box, remember, that's where we are actually solving the problem. This is where you get to use base 10 blocks, a number line, or expanded form to solve the problem, okay? So I think that I'm going to choose base 10 blocks to solve this problem. So let me write it out, 137, and remember we said that we were subtracting minus 23, okay? And then I like to kind of make a place value chart so that way I keep all of my numbers in line. Okay, so remember when we're subtracting, we only draw the top number with base 10 blocks. So I'm going to draw 7 ones, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 tens, 1, 2, 3, and 1 100. Okay, and if I'm subtracting, I'm taking some of those away. So remember, we always start adding and subtracting in the ones place. So what is 7 minus 3? 1, 2, 3. 7 minus 3 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to have a 4 in the ones place. Okay, and then we have 3 minus 2. So I have my 3 base 10 blocks up there. I'm going to take away 2. 1, 2. How many do I have left? I have 110 left. Okay, and then we have 100 minus 0 because there's nothing there in the hundreds place. So 100 minus 0 hundreds leaves us with 100 left. So I want you to try to solve that and see, were you able to get 114 also? You try it and see. Right, and then the last box that we're going to do is we're going to check our work. Remember, that means that we can try a different strategy or we can use addition to check subtraction. Okay, but I want to try a different strategy. I think in this box I'm going to use a number line. Why not? Okay, so I have my number line here, and I'm going to start at my largest number. I'm going to start at my whole, which was 137. 137. And then I'm going to subtract 23 from it. So in the number 23, how many groups of 10 are there? There are 2 groups of 10, so I'm going to take 2 jumps backwards, 1, 2, and in each of those jumps I'm subtracting 10. And then I'm just going to count backwards. 137 minus 10 would be 127. And then 127 minus 10 would be 117, but I'm not done. I've only subtracted my 10s. Now in the number 23, how many ones are there? There are 3 ones, so I'm going to take 3 jumps of 1 backwards. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to count backwards. 117, 116, 115, 114. So look, my answers match. 114 and 114. So now we can answer our question. How much money does he have left? So I'm going to say Joe has $114 left. Okay, so I've answered my question. I've filled in all the boxes on my problem solving mat. I've even checked my work, so I know that my answer is right for this problem. Okay, so I want you to get out a new piece of paper and we are going to try a new problem in just a second. All right, boys and girls, so I have another word problem that we are going to try together. So make sure you have your problem solving mat on the same piece of paper or on a new sheet of paper if you don't have any more space, because I want you to solve this one with me as well. Okay, so remember, you have your info box, your plan box, your solve box, and your check box. And let's look at this problem. It says, Miss Epple had 82 lollipops. So we're going to underline 82 because I think that's going to be important later. And let's continue reading. She gave 21, I'm going to underline that number, to her students. Okay, if I'm giving them away, would that be adding or subtracting? Think about that. How many does she have left? Okay, so now that we've read the problem, we're going to read it again, but this time in your box, you're going to write down the important information, and in my box, I'm also going to write down the important information. So it said Miss Epple had 82 lollipops. So there's something that's important. 82 lollipops. Okay, so I'm going to write down that because that's how many I started with. But then I gave 21 to my students, or she gave 21 to her students. So I'm going to write gave 21 away. If I'm giving them away, am I getting more or am I losing some? I think I'm losing some. So I think I know if I'm adding or subtracting. And let's look at the question. How many does she have left? So then you want to make sure that you write your question in that important information box. What would the question be? How many left? So I want to know how many lollipops Miss Epple has left. All right, now that we have all of our important information in the important information box, we're going to go over and we're going to create our plan. So remember, for a plan, we've been working on using a part-whole chart. So in the top, this is where I'm going to put my whole, and then I have my parts and my parts, okay? Remember, if I have my whole in one of the parts, then I'm subtracting. If I have two parts, then I'm adding, right? A part-whole chart helps us organize our numbers so that way we know if we're adding or if we're subtracting. So let's look at our important information and look at our problem again and see if I'm adding or subtracting. Do we know how many lollipops Miss Epple started with? We do. It says Miss Epple had 82 lollipops. So that's how many she had to start with. So that's going to go in our whole box because we know how many she started with. We know her whole. She had 82. Okay? So she gave 21 to her students. Okay, so that's one of the parts because 21 of her students got a lollipop and she started with 82 lollipops. Okay? So we have our whole in one of our parts, so we know that we are subtracting. We're looking for the other part, how many Miss Epple has left. I can't have more than 82 because I started with 82. So we're looking for that missing piece, how many I have left, right? Now we're going to get ready to go into the solve box and we're going to be solving our problem. Remember, this is where you can use a pictorial model, you can use base 10 blocks, you could use a numbered line, or you could use expanded form. You can use whichever method works best for you, whichever one is easiest for you. But remember, we are subtracting. So let's write our problem. We have 82 minus 21. Okay, and I think today, for this problem, I want to use expanded form. So I'm going to put 82 in expanded form, 80 plus 2, and then remember I'm subtracting. I have to put 21 in expanded form, 20 plus 1. And then remember, when we're adding or subtracting, we always start in the ones place. So even though there's a plus sign here, we have to remember we're subtracting. So what is 2 minus 1? 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, I'm going to put the plus sign there because it's still in expanded form. Okay, and then I'm doing 80 minus 20. So if I have 80 and I take away 20, how much do I have left? And you can even use base 10 blocks to help you here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 tens, which equals 80, and I'm going to take away 20, which is 2 of those tens. How many tens do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 tens left, and that is 60. So 82 minus 21 would equal 61, or 60 plus 1, okay? But I'm not finished. Now that I've solved it, I want you to solve it too. You can use expanded form or base 10 blocks or a number line. But now that I solved it, I also have to check it. So take a minute, you try to solve it, and make sure you get 61 also. Right, I hope that you were able to solve it here and you got 61. But if you didn't get 61, that's okay, because right here we're going to go and we're going to check our work. So I'm going to pick another strategy to solve my problem. I tried expanded form, now I'm going to try a different one. Let's try base 10 blocks. So I still have 82 minus 21, but this time I'm going to draw base 10 blocks to solve it, okay? So I'm going to draw 2 ones, and remember, because I'm subtracting, I'm only drawing the top number because I'm taking away. Okay, and then I'm going to draw 8 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and now remember, when we're adding and subtracting, we always start in the ones place. Okay, so I have 2 minus 1. Okay, so I have 2. I took away 1. That leaves me with 1 left. Now I'm going to go to my tens place. I have 8 tens minus 2 tens. Take away 2. That leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tens, 61, 61. My answers match, so that means I solved this problem correctly. And I checked my work to make sure it was correct. So now that I've checked my work, I made sure that it was correct, I am going to answer my question. How many does Miss Epple have left? I'm going to say Miss E, I'm going to even abbreviate, Miss E has 61 left. And I made sure to answer my question. Right, boys and girls, so what you are going to be working on is word problems just like this. So during the independent practice, you're going to have 4 subtraction word problems that I want you to solve using the problem solving mat like we used today, right? And then it's on a Google slide. So after you answer the problems, you're going to drag the answers and make sure that you have an answer to go with each word problem. If you have any questions or you get confused, make sure that you ask your teacher for extra help. And remember, you can use whatever strategy you want to. You can use base 10 blocks, a number line, or expanded form. Whatever works best for you is what you're allowed to use to solve these problems, right? Let us know if you need any help, and make sure you get that independent practice done whenever it's due. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, boys and girls.